Okay, so my name is Rachel HolBrook, and I teach at Johnson County Middle School, and then I do TIS part-time. And this is my 15th year teaching language arts. And during that time, I have seen a lot of changes come and go, things that have been popular. But one thing that has remained is the struggle to get kids to read and to make it engaging. So that's kind of what my project focuses on. So what I wanted to do, I wanted to increase in an innovative way and help my students become active readers. And when I got my doctorate several years ago, I became interested in research. And so some real quick facts I want to share with you all that for students who read 20 minutes a day, if you take student A who reads 20 minutes a day every day, they will read 3,600 minutes per school year. That equates to 1.8 million words per year, and those students tend to score in the 90th percentile on standardized tests. And we know how important that is, especially when they get to high school and we're looking at ACT scores. Compare that to a student who reads only 5 minutes a day. That's 900 minutes a school year, 282,000 words, and they score in the 50th percentile. And then that drops significantly when students only read 1 minute a day, 180 minutes a year, 8,000 words per year, and then they score in the 10th percentile. And to me, those numbers were really staggering because we all want our students to do well, not just on tests they take, but in the real world. So my research question, I wanted to know what impact would incorporating a digital engagement by reading, by them tracking their reading, how would that impact their fluency? And so at the beginning of each school year, probably within the first 2 days, I give the Brigance reading test. And it's an old test, but it works because it helps me know my kids' reading levels. And then our district also uses ExactPath, and so that helps track 3 times a year our student reading fluency and comprehension. So the way my plan worked, my students selected books that they were interested in reading. They read 20 minutes per night. We started out at 15 minutes the first 9 weeks, and then I upped that to 20 minutes once they got used to it. We began the year by them tracking on paper and pencil, and then once we got the grant money, we moved over to Moxie Reader, which is what my grant focused on. So when the students read, they had to track their reading using Moxie Reader. Once we got Moxie Reader up and going, they participated in reading challenges. So they were put in groups, and there were awards and rewards for the groups that had the higher reading numbers. They got to comment on their peers' progress, so they could cheer each other on, they could like it. They completed book reviews and rankings, so they could rank the books. And our goal is to promote books with videos and QR codes, so that's the next step that we're going to be working on. We used their Chromebooks and then the Google Pixel book that I purchased with grant funds to help log their reading. Okay, so the project evaluation, like I said, we did a pre and post reading comprehension evaluation with our ExactPath. We did our beginning of the year, and then at Christmas we did our second test, and 90% of my students increased their reading comprehension, which I was very proud of. We also looked at participation rates, and then at the end of the year, I'll be doing a survey data using Google Forms to see what the students thought of the program. So this is kind of a screenshot, and Moxie Reader came into 2 parts. There's a teacher dashboard, and then there's the student app. And the student app part is free once you set the students up. But it allowed me to have 3 classes for my students. I have 4 homerooms, so I divided one of the homerooms and put into 3 of the groups. And so these are some of the kids. It gives them I get the little picture, and that's automatically generated. And then I can put in their reading levels, like where they are, and then based on the books they choose and how they log their information, that changes as they grow as readers. So this is another screen that kind of shows you up here on the right-hand side, you can see the page numbers that they've read, how much progress they have. And this was a reading challenge group. This was the one that we started just a week ago, so the bar is not very far across. But you can see there that the llama group was in the lead with 37 points. So they get points based on the books they read, how big the books are, how the lexile level of the books, and then how quickly they progress through the book. And then this is a display that I would put up on the Mondo board when students come in. It was called their student check-in. And you can't see it because it's not live, but you can see the blue bars. So for the students who have the most progress, their little picture would flash off and on, and it would enlarge. And so it kind of gave those students some recognition for their work. This is a screenshot of the program that the students see, and it has them, you can see there a little bit, it tells them to put the page number, and then it has a picture of the book, and then some places for them to put their comments and their book reviews. So this was one of my students getting ready to log her book. We simply scan the barcode that's on the back, or they can enter the ISBN number of the book. And so it was great because our Chromebooks are equipped with cameras, and then for those students who didn't have their Chromebook, or for whatever reason, we had the Chromebook that I purchased with the grant for those students to use. And this is a student, she's rating the book after she completed it. So some of the pros, it was more interactive than paper and pencil, and I felt like my students were more engaged, more likely to actually do this. It created competition and motivation for completing the reading. I would do a pizza reward, or I would do a cupcake reward for the groups that would win, and so that motivated some students. And then it also, one thing I really liked, it provided recommendations to the students based on the books they completed. So if it saw that a student liked a certain kind of book, it could make recommendations for them. A couple cons, unlike our AR programs that we're probably familiar with, it was no true way to ensure that they were actually reading those page numbers. Most of my students were pretty honest, and they could talk to me about the book, but you always have those couple who say, well, yeah, I read last night, but they really didn't, but there's no true way to measure that. Some books were not in their database, so we had to add those books manually, and that was a little bit more complicated, and that took more time. And then with the basic package, you're limited to 3 classes. Anything else you have to pay for.